A few things. Rangers are now, per Jared Sandler, who, look, if you love the Rangers or care about baseball whatsoever, you really should be following Jared Sandler because he might know more about baseball than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. The Rangers have won 9 straight home games against the Rays. And then we move over to who's starting tomorrow. Patrick Corbin. So Corbin said yesterday, and look, this is something that we've talked about all along, that like he would probably get hot-shotted into the rotation, and the blister injury for Jack Leiter facilitated that. So Patrick Corbin was like, I've been telling him I feel good. There was thought about maybe having some other appearances and everything like that to rev him up for this, but he's like, no, I've been telling him I'm good to go. So the timing actually works really well that he's good to go. And unfortunately, Jack Leiter has the blister issue. He will get the start tomorrow.
Corbin will?
Yes.
Okay. Does that leave question for you then on where Leiter sits in all this now? Because the idea was you're going to have about a month to get the ball every 5 days, go on your little run and get your opportunity. And now this blister comes up. He was pitching phenomenally.
Yes.
I loved everything I was seeing from Jack Leiter. And I was saying he's arrived. Yeah. And so does Corbin showing up if he has a bad outing? Is it like, okay, Leiter's back in? Or I'm very curious on how they're going to do this. And obviously we can ask Bochy this tomorrow.
See, now I kind of think, and maybe Boch will be like, nonsense. And obviously I will believe him. I kind of wonder if this pushes a whole lot of pressure back onto Rocker.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you want to have a lefty in your starting rotation, and then maybe you'll be like, well, Rocker hasn't gotten a ton of time in the minor leagues, so maybe he would fall back. Or maybe it could be what you said. There's 6 pitchers. Whoever's throwing the best, they will take the 5 spots. I don't care if they're all right-handed or not.
This could, like, the way that Leiter was pitching to start this season, Bobby said this morning, rookie of the year kind of stuff. And
sure.
I was like, yeah, absolutely. That is the case, and that leaves even more of a conversation, Kevin, when you do get back potentially a Cody Bradford or a John Gray. Like, where does Jack Leiter fit in that conversation? And if Rocker has more outings where he's only giving up 1 run, even if he's not striking out everybody, but he's only giving up 1 run, I want to keep putting that on the mound because the way this team is currently hitting is like, this is the solution. Pitching is the solution for bad hitting. Whenever you're not hitting well, if you have pitching that's carrying you like this, you're fine.
That is very fair. So I want to hit a couple of the Franklin injury attorney text lines real quick, or their texts that they sent in. 6-man rotation from the 940. Keep Rocker and DeGrom's innings down after Tommy John.
I don't think that works in the mot for like an Evaldi or a DeGrom.
I was going to say at least 2 pitchers we know that are in the Rangers rotation are not in favor of that. Yeah. And so as much as I hear you from a logical standpoint, look, we're here to give you opinions, but also tell you the facts and behind the scenes facts. And 40% of your rotation says that is a non-starter.
Yeah,
for them.
That would be that case.
From the 972, hey, Kevin, the Rangers are going to go 160-2. That would be phenomenal.
That's right.
See? That's the way you answer that, Kevin. That's the way you answer it. That would be amazing.
I mean, it's not going to happen, but it would be phenomenal.
To say that. See, that's the thing that you don't need to say that part. You went too far.
Gotcha.
Oh, let me put
what?
realism in your life.
No. But
you have enough for real life, bro.
Keep this in mind.
Let us imagine dreams.
You know what I said on Saturday? Well, it's not like they're going to give up the whole lead and lose the game.
Oh, yeah, they did.
And guess what?
Yeah,
that's exactly what happened. Yeah. So just because I don't think it can happen doesn't mean that is factually accurate. And you need to just go back less than 48 hours for proof about that. And then somebody asked about Cody Bradford from the 214. The thing about Cody Bradford is, look, we're still several weeks away. And so I hate to say this, and I don't mean this just for the Rangers. I mean for any team. Like, pitching attrition will probably take place where if all of our pitchers stayed healthy and all 6 of those guys were healthy, and then Cody Bradford was back and we're like, what are we going to do? We have too many starting pitchers. That'd be awesome.
Start making some trades.
Yeah, I would love for that to be a problem that you really needed to figure out.
Trade DeGrom.
No.
What?
Probably not that one.
How much do you think you could get for DeGrom?
Not as much as you might think, depending on the amount of salary you'd be willing to eat.
Okay.
But unfortunately, I think you're probably going to have these kind of holes pop up where you're like, hey, Cody Bradford's good to go right about the time that, unfortunately, somebody else is going to be dinged up for 10 days or whatever the case might be. But he's still a couple weeks away, at least.
And to go on with that, I forgot where I was going, so never mind.
I'm sorry. Going, he's still at least a couple of weeks away. Remember, that's what Bochy told us. They haven't ruled out a 60-day IL stint for him either.
Gotcha. Now, this is, as I tweeted yesterday, Kevin, at In the Majors on Twitter. This is a team that looks like they just find ways to win, which Bochy has said all along. That's what you want. You want a team that's never giving up in a game. They always got in mind that in the next inning's an opportunity to crack this thing wide open. That's the way that they think, and that is the way that they go about their business. Is at any point we can have a 3-run inning and give ourselves a lead, or come up with the run that it takes. And at the moment, stealing bases seems to be a method which Bochy, we've been kind of looking at for a while, has not been wanting to do. But when you don't have Josh Jung in the lineup, when you don't have a completely healthy Corey Seager, when you're not hitting as many home runs, you got to manufacture and come up with some other ways to get those runs on the board.
Okay, I'm really intrigued by this because the Rangers very much are like the best of times and the worst of times.
It's weird. It's a weird approach
when it comes to the base paths. All right, let's talk about what they are capable of doing on the base paths. You just brought it up. 10 stolen bases in 9 games. That's the 7th most in baseball. And there are one of 2 teams, along with the Red Sox, that haven't gotten thrown out stealing yet. So, hey, super duper positive. Like, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Here's the other part of it, though. And this is...
God, Pittsburgh has 21 stolen bases already this year?
That is...
Sheesh.
That is pretty amazing.
Okay, back to you.
Wow, that is amazing. What about when the Rangers are trying to keep runners on?
They're struggling there.
It is not going well.
Not the best, Kevin.
They have given up the 2nd most stolen bases in baseball, 13. They have the 2nd worst caught stealing percentage, 7, which essentially means, I'll tell you exactly what it means. 14 people have tried to steal bases against the Rangers this year. One of them has got caught, and the other 13 made it.
Was that Sunday? Jonah Heim?
Yeah.
Alec, that was Sunday. Jonah Heim got the throwdown, or was that Saturday that went down?
But just over the weekend.
Yeah, it was just over this weekend. I saw it, and I was like, oh, wow. I wonder how we're doing in that category. And then I went and looked, and I was like, oh, we're doing poorly there.
Yes.
But it's weird that like you said, Tale of Two Cities here.
Yes.
Where they're really good at stealing bases right now, which we haven't seen because they were always like, let's just slug them in.
And one of the things that Bochy immediately gravitated towards is we got to give our catchers more of a chance. We can ask him to elaborate about that more tomorrow, but I don't think it's that difficult to figure out that, like, hey, you need the starters to get the ball either in a timely fashion or a position.
Or hold them on better.
Yes.
And
that's
that
a great point. Yeah. Where they're going to have the opportunity to do that. But if you look at how much the Rangers are stealing bases, 7th most in Major League Baseball. Do you know where they were at last year?
I feel like they were dead last year.
Believe it or not, they were not. But they were 7th fewest in Major League Baseball at only 97. And so they're going to be, will they stay in position where they're averaging 1 stolen base a game? If that happens, you know how many of a jump that will be over last year? 65.
Interesting.
And that might be too far, but because we've only played 10 games, 10 steals. But last year they went from 7th fewest, this year 7th most.
Yeah, the when you get into the playoffs though, and when you get into World Series type games and everything's that much tighter, if that's a hole in this team, they got to figure out how to fix that and correct that at some point. I think Bochy can. He's experienced it enough to know what things they can and can't do to help that out. But, Kevin, you get a runner on first, and now he's taking second. You don't have the force anymore. It's screwing that over.
Yeah.
He's in scoring position. You're screwing yourself over. If you're not able to get those guys out, and teams know we can run on them all day, we just got to get on base. That changes their whole approach against you at the plate. So that's where I am hopeful that at some point through the season that does gear up and they get better at it.
Now, if you're looking for another positive for the Texas Rangers, everything we've heard and been told is that Josh Jung is going to be ready to roll tomorrow. So you've got the game against the Cubs tonight where it could be snowing. Mike Bassick has already told us that it started to snow
there
in Chicago. We'll see if that sticks around. I guess I'm always of the thought that when it gets dark or later, it just automatically gets colder. I know that's not how it has to work every single time, but that does seem logical. So maybe it'll continue to snow. But Josh Jung coming back. But for people worried about Josh Smith, Bruce Bochy said, look, he's still going to be in the starting lineup 4 or 5 times a week, depending on who needs rest. He'll be in that super utility role that we've all gotten really accustomed to.
He played a really good first base during spring training. He's a small target, but he's got a good glove over there. So he played a good first base. He can play second base. That's not happening too frequently with Marcus Semien. Unless Marcus Semien, who is, again, still starting the season off rough at the plate, gets an opportunity to say, you know what, guys, I do need to step away for a minute. Let Josh Smith take that. He will play plenty of shortstop. He will play plenty with Josh Jung, too, because Josh Jung, I mean, you never know with him. Outfield's interesting. I can put him in right field, but I still need the bat from Adolis. But that allows me to have him in the DH spot. But I can't have multiple of my sluggers injured or just DHing. Because if I have a day where Corey Seager can DH and Adolis can DH, I got to make a tough decision there. But yeah, he can play lots of different areas.